welcome to another film study episode, and today I want to talk about this Steelers defense. It's a top 3 unit that is completely based off that formidable pass rush, but it does have its weaknesses as all defenses do. And I do want to talk about how this Browns offense can exploit this. They are missing their play caller, Kevin Stefanski. They're missing the best guard, arguably, in pass protection, Joel Bitonio. So they have guys missing. But I do think this Steelers defense has some weaknesses that the Browns are built to take advantage of. So without further ado, let's analyze some film. So first off, the Steelers love to run disguised coverages, and they change their looks very frequently pre-snap as well as post-snap. So on this play, if you look at it at a first glance, it looks like the Steelers are going to run some sort of cover 2 man. They've got their 2 safeties that look like they're going to drop back. It looks like there's man bracketed across the board, and you've got the linebackers that are moving with the running back when he comes in motion. So it looks a lot like a cover 2 man. But then as the play, moves on, the Steelers start moving around, and it does look like they're going to come with an inside blitz because the free safety Fitzpatrick drops to cover that slot receiver. So then you're thinking, well, the inside blitz, because there are linebackers in that double A gap, A gap to blitz through the double A gap, and that's concerning because, that is a concern right there, is that inside blitz. You've got to be careful about that. But what the Steelers are actually running is a cover 2 zone with a slot corner blitzing. And this is something that Keith Butler, the defensive coordinator of the Steelers, loves to do. He loves to bring those athletic, speedy corners blitzing to the quarterback, playing the run as they go, because it speeds up the quarterback's processor and doesn't really allow him to think because of that threat and that speed on the blitz. And what is so well executed here is, first of all, the quarterback does an excellent job reading the splits and throwing his curl route to T. Higgins because he recognizes that they're going to be a man short there because of that blitzing corner, as well as that offensive lineman, the left tackle, drifting to the left to pick up that blitz. And it's just really well executed because, again, the Steelers, they're going to confuse you because they do have an excellent defense. It's just that you have to find a way to just be very solid post-snap and remember your keys, and you can really tear apart this Steelers defense by doing so. So this next play in the Colts game kind of shows how you can exploit this Steelers defense when they try to disguise their coverages. So, for example here, it looks like at first glance, again, the Steelers are going to run a cover 1. They have their safety deep in the middle third, and they bring their other safety down into the box. So, of course, that safety he might blitz, drop in the coverage, but that's besides the point. Then you have the 2 outside corners, kind of seemingly in a man assignment. But the trick here and confusion here for this Colts offense is that Michael Pittman, the slot receiver, is uncovered. And that kind of confuses this Colts offense because it's not sure whether it's a zone, if someone's going to jump at the last second to cover him in a man assignment. So there's a lot of confusion, and you have to wait post-snap. And what Phillip Rivers gets here is he sees Cameron Sutton stepping his foot. He's trying, as if he's going to blitz, right? He's, waiting for the perfect timing. And because Keith Butler loves to bring his slot corners to get to the quarterback, Phillip Rivers and this Colts offensive line has to be aware of this. But what they get too cute here is this Steelers defense is he tries to step at the last second. So it confuses them post-snap at the last second. And ultimately, that's how Cameron Sutton loses a step on Michael Pittman, who runs a drag route and just takes it for about 20 yards. And again, you don't have to have all the answers. This Browns offense doesn't have to have all the answers pre-snap. All you have to do is when you see some confusion post-snap, when the Steelers are not exactly showing their hand at what they're doing, you just have to wait for the open guy to come out and trust your guys to get open. So now we're going to flip the switch and talk about the Browns game against the Steelers. And this Browns offense really hurt the Steelers with their empty formation with heavier packages. So, for example, here on this play, Mayfield's going to motion out Chubb, and they're actually in 12 personnel, which means 2 tight ends, Njoku and Hooper, and 2 receivers as well, and 1 running back. And because they're in 12 personnel, the Steelers are essentially forced to play their base package, which is 3-4. That's their base formation. And that's 3 interior defensive linemen and 4 linebackers. And again, because this is spread out Alex Highsmith has to guard Jarvis Landry one-on-one. And obviously this is an advantageous situation for the Browns, and they're able to make use of that as Mayfield finds Landry on the quick slant. What's great about the empty formation against a pass rush dependent defense such as Pittsburgh is you force them to have to cover 5 guys, because when you go 5 wide, there's only so many people you can blitz, and because you're responsible for the 5 receivers and you have to cover them. And it's great for Mayfield because he doesn't have as many guys in his face and he can just read the field and take advantage of the situation. So on this play here, he does just that. Jarvis Landry, he's matched up with Avery Williamson because that's the alignment that Pittsburgh is forced to play. And all Jarvis has to do is create some easy separation against a bigger, slower linebacker and pick up some pretty easy yards. And yes, you can call it dink and dunk, but this is what you're going to have to do against such a destructive Pittsburgh pass rush. Without their pass rush, they're not a good defense. If you can find a way to neutralize that, empty use is a great way to do that. You can find a way to move the ball and move the chains against this defense. So moving on, I also think the Browns will be able to abuse Alex Highsmith in terms of their play-action game. And the Browns didn't run a lot of play-action in Week 17. The game plan for the Browns was extremely vanilla. There wasn't a lot of play-action fakes. There was very little moving pockets and where, Baker gets on the move rolling left or right. So I do think that the Browns can really use what their biggest strength is, which is the play-action game against the Steelers. So here's a play in the Colts game where they're going to hand it off to Jonathan Taylor. But if you look at the unblocked edge player, which is Alex Highsmith, he crashes extremely hard even before Jonathan Taylor gets the ball. And this, if you're a Steelers fan, this is concerning because that opens up a wide open lane for Baker Mayfield, or well, in this case, Phillip Rivers, to roll out left. And the lack of instincts that Highsmith has, because Highsmith is traditionally a pass rush specialist, but because Bud Dupree is injured for the year, he is forced into this starting role. And now, he's starting to show that lack of run instincts. He doesn't set the edge, which is his job to make sure the quarterback doesn't roll out. And I think that that's something that this Browns offense can take advantage of. Here's another example. The Colts are going to try to run an outside zone, and once again, Highsmith disregards his responsibility to set that edge and at least watch for the possibility of Phillip Rivers rolling out for the play-action pass. And what the Browns will be able to do is, because of their potent play-action game, they will be able to create extra stress on that unblocked edge player. And what that does is it makes that player double think his decision. And what you can do then is, if the player kind of gets lost in thought, it opens up the run game, because if he holds back and watches for the play action, that's one extra blocker for the Browns in the running game. If he decides to crash the edge every single play, then Baker Mayfield is going to have all day rolling to his left or rolling to his right if there's no one there pressuring him. And so it's a win-win situation, and really you just got to take advantage of a rookie that just isn't great when it comes to having instincts in that unblocked edge player role. Also, just quickly adding on to that same idea, I would really like to see the Browns try a gimmicky play like the read option, and I think this play really shows how it can really work. Like I said with the Alex Highsmith thing, he's not very disciplined, he crashes the running back very heavily. And so one thing that I'd like to try to the Browns do is maybe try some read options with Mayfield reading Alex Highsmith and maybe pulling and going for a big gain. Here, Ryan Finley and the Bengals do that perfectly. Alex Highsmith crashes heavily, and Ryan Finley just sneaks out for a 20-yard plus rushing touchdown. He's not even that fast, and Mayfield's probably more athletic, and so I think that would be a really cool play if we could see that on Sunday night. Now, this last weakness I want to address that this defense has is that you can, if you're in heavy personnel groupings and call 6, 7, 8-man protections, you can take some shots deep. So for this first play, Mayfield is actually it's not gonna be a play action, but it does look like a run. He's under center. There's 7 guys right there blocking that could potentially block for Chubb. So the Steelers really sell out to stop the run. And what's so great about this is because you have that many guys there, they turn around and block all those incoming blitzers that the Steelers defense sends. And what that allows is because there's so many guys in the box selling out to stop the run, and as long as every man holds up in their pass protection, then you have an opportunity one-on-one outside. So here it's Higgins working on the outside boundary corner, and he's able to put a great double move there on that corner and get open, and Mayfield makes a beautiful throw. And this is the thing, the Steelers' corners are not great at all. They look great because of that pass rush and just how quickly that pass rush gets there. And so if you can block out there and force the Steelers to win their one-on-ones in the secondary, which they most of the time don't, you're in a pretty good spot. And Mayfield has very good accuracy deep, and he has quite the cannon, so he connects with Higgins for a big gain. Even the Colts did this. They got their heavy personnel. Rivers is under center. They play action really hard, and it draws these linebackers in to blitz Rivers. And the offensive line holds up in their man-on-man situation, and they buy Rivers just enough time to make a huge throw up the seam in the middle of the field, down the field to Zach Pascal. And again, that corner, he plays off coverage. The Steelers love to play off coverage. They're not a very physical secondary, and they don't need to be because of that pass rush that normally gets there in about under 3.5 seconds. So what they're able to do here, the Colts, is just able to buy Rivers enough time and then allow him to make the throw down the field to Pascal, who's able to use his speed to just drive right by the corner. The Browns offense has a really tough task ahead of it. It's got to face one of the strongest, most physical fronts in the NFL. It's going to be a tough battle. I do think the Browns will keep it close. They won't have Stefanski, they won't have Bitonio, but I do think Mayfield and this offense, as well as this defense, can really step up in their first playoff game in 18 years as a franchise. I'd be very interested to have a discussion with what you guys think is going to happen, what you guys think the Browns need to do in order to win their first playoff appearance since 2002. Thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoyed the film study episode, and make sure to subscribe for future content just like this. But no matter what happens on Sunday night, I think we can all agree as Browns fans that a playoff appearance for the first time in forever is a pretty great thing to build on heading into next year.